गुड मॉर्निंग, वेलकम टू मॉम टॉक थर्सडे। और ये थर्सडे चिल्ड्रंस डे भी है, सो हैप्पी चिल्ड्रंस डे। एंड this Thursday is special, you know why? Because this topic of screen time addiction has been requested so many times to me, you know, कि मैम just talk about screen time addiction, बच्चों को मोबाइल से कैसे दूर रखे, क्या करे, इसके क्या इफेक्ट्स है, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this time I feel as if, hi Panki, hi Anuj. Okay, so this time I am going to start with screen time addiction ka topic, but I'm going to do that with a company which is so passionate about creating awareness. So what happened was Monday ko this company called Inforida, okay, they are into software development for schools. So they approached me and they said that we want to raise awareness about screen time addiction. So the founder is so passionate about business, but he is also so passionate about the cause. So I said, okay, fine. So what is it that you want to raise the awareness about? What is the most passionate thing? What is the biggest problem that you see right now? So he said it's more to do with that children are so addicted with screen and we want to talk about it. And as Children's Day was coming, and as all of you have requested so many times to talk about this particular topic, so I thought let me get them online so that they also are able to work on the cause that they are so passionate about. And I also get to share with you my ideas as to what I think the screen time addiction is and how we can actually help our child uh, to to get away from it. Okay, so Anuj, I don't know if we can connect or not. We'll see how the live goes. Okay, if we are not able to connect, then maybe we can connect next week. Okay, so I am going to get Tim online. So we have Tim from their company who has come online. Of watching screen all the time, which I think a lot of parents are facing right now. Also, considering Tim do not. Hi Tim.
Hi, Divya.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for the live and thank you for inviting me to
Thank
do
you for
this.
joining in for Rita today.
Yeah. So Tim, I just wanted to check with you, you know, like you guys reached to me on Monday saying that you want to do this live about screen time addiction. And my first question to you was that you being a software company who provides software to schools, why are you so passionate about creating awareness about this particular topic? So let's start with that first. That what is your why behind this?
Sure. So, as a school management software company, we're deeply invested in the holistic development of kids and students, and we're thrilled to kick off this series of discussions with you. You've consistently shared valuable parenting tips and shown a strong commitment to kids' well-being. Today, we're diving into a major issue, which is known as device addiction.
Yes,
Many kids are addicted and they don't even realize it,
absolutely.
which is why we're so happy to have you help us shed light on the subject. My first question, Divya, is can you help our audience understand what mobile device addiction is?
Sure. So, Tim, as I told you initially, also there are few people who understand Hindi, so there will be a mix of it. Are you going to be okay with that if I speak in English and Hindi both?
Yes, of course.
Okay, no, I just didn't want to offend you. Okay, so I'm just going to say in a plain, simple language. What is addiction? Okay, addiction can be for anything. Addiction can be for someone who drinks, that is an addiction. Addiction can be something to do, someone is smoking, that's an addiction. So, addiction is something that a person cannot live without or stay without, or it is so difficult for them to leave it. In plain, simple words. Now, mobile is something that has actually become our third hand, if you ask us, even for us adults. And you will agree to it that we take mobiles even to our bathroom these days. You know, we cannot, the first thing we get up and we watch, we have to have a mobile, even if it is to check the time. So, addiction, device addiction now has become a way in which it is affecting the children. Children are getting dopamine from the device. Why? It is not the device which is the problem. It is the apps on the device which is the problem. Okay, it is the apps. Even us as adults, you will agree that especially when we go on social media, it is so difficult for us to leave that social media easily. We see one reel after the other, after the other, after the other, right? So imagine if me as an adult do not have control over my impulses, how do I expect a 8-year, 15-year-old child to have that control on their impulses when their prefrontal cortex, which is the front brain, which is the front side of the brain, has not even been developed till now. So addiction, in short, is anything that you cannot live without. And device addiction is something that I don't think any human in this planet is now not addicted to the device. Yes, there are ways to curtail it, like I have my own ways, but expecting a child to have that kind of a resistance in themselves is a very big ask for us. So I feel it is our responsibility as a parent, you know, to actually make sure that our child do not get that much of screen time.
Yes. Yeah, that's all. Those are all very important points. Um, why is it important for parents to be aware of this and address addiction, device addiction in their children?
See, I'll divide it into two parts. Okay, in audience also there will be two kind of parents here. There are going to be parents jinke bachche are like the toddlers. There are parents whose kids are like toddlers. They have different kind of a problem when it comes to device addiction. Then there are going to be parents whose children are pre-teens and teens. They have a different kind of a problem. So let me start with addressing the toddler problems. Okay, the parents whose kids are toddlers. What happens is when you have a toddler, you start giving them device initially so that they are distracted. One, two, you are like it is some parents think that if my child is watching something educational on the phone, it is good. The my child is learning tables, my child is learning ABC and things like that, and they give it. That is absolutely fine, no problem. Okay, but do you realize the effect that particular device have on your child? So what happens is when a child is watching a mobile, like right now when you're listening to me, Tim, what senses of you is currently working?
My eyes, my ears.
Yeah, your eyes and your ears. What is not working? When you're just watching me, when you're just listening to me, what is not working?
I'm probably not thinking about.
Yeah,
I'm
little
just
bit
paying
not.
attention to you.
Yes, and then you're not talking, right? So what
Right.
happens is in little children who watch a lot of TV, or who are constantly in front of TV, or are constantly watching cartoons, what happens is only their ears, and their eyes development starts happening. What about the speech?
Good point.
That is why you will see a lot of speech delay,
Yes.
these
Yes.
days in toddlers, because they only know how to listen, listen and see, and maybe have some kind of a development in the brain, but they're not talking because nobody is talking to them. They don't
Right.
have to respond,
We've
you know
moved away from constant interaction with each other in our day-to-day lives, and we've moved more into just a one-way sort of communication where content is coming at us, but we're not sharing back our thoughts and our feelings and our observations about the information that's coming at us.
Exactly, Tim, exactly. And when I talk about parents whose kids are like toddlers, the earliest parents, that is the biggest problem that they are facing. You know, another thing that they are facing is, if I show you this cup once, okay, and now I tell you do not remember it, is it possible for you not
Sure.
to remember it? Are you sure you can take this out of your memory forever? Just the look
Maybe,
of it.
I think that you might remember it for a short
Hmm.
term, but maybe not the long term.
Maybe not the long term. Okay, so when a child is watching TV, and especially I say this, even on YouTube there are ads that are coming which are not parental controlled ads. Okay, then they are watching content, in between something will come which may not be appropriate for the child. Now once a child has heard something, listened something, formed an opinion, it is so difficult to change it. That's why parents of children who are toddlers face issues of, there's a lot of aggressiveness. Why? Because the child is seeing that kind of cartoons. They have problems because children are misbehaving. They are using words that are not appropriate. ठीक है? तो उसमें क्या होता है? Sorry. So what happens in that is कि the parents are like, how do I do this? The biggest issue parents feel these days is that my child is not going to eat if I don't give them mobile phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is true because we have made it true for ourselves, because in order to feed our child, we used to give them something to watch to, and it was easier for us to feed. Now, when I feed myself without being aware of my senses, I am either going to overeat or I will not have any relation with the food. Okay. So the list can actually go on. There is a huge list. There's a lot of studies. There is a lot of things that can happen. Okay. But let's today's live be more about the solutions. But I will also come to the teens first. Okay. The problem with the teens, which I don't think a lot of parents are aware about, is a lot of teens get into anxiety and depression because of cell phone addictions. The first thing they do is they go and start. The first thing they do is they go and reach out to the phone in the morning. The last thing they do in the night is they sleep with their phone, right? They're watching something, they're chatting with their friends, they sleep with their phone. Okay. There is so much information in their mind that may or may not be required at that stage of life.
Yes.
So phone as such is not a problem. If you personally ask me, phone is not a problem. Phone is only a way of communication. It is the apps on the phone which is the problem.
Right.
And a lot of parents, especially in India, I feel, do not know how to have parental controls on the phone. Because
they can be complicated.
They themselves don't know. Yes. They don't know how to have parental control on the laptop. They don't know how to have, like, what kind of apps are not okay to be on the phone. You know, they do not have a conversation with the child when they give the phone. They just come and say, "Lo, beta, this is your phone. Happy birthday." Or, "Okay, I'll just put it for you. That take the happy birthday. This is the phone. This is the gift from my end to you."
Right. And children are sharing and discussing new apps between themselves, and parents are not hearing those conversations. And so even if a parent has gone through a child's phone and taken off some apps, you know, their friends at school are going to tell them about new apps, and the parents are not going to be part of that conversation. So it's a constant chase for the parents to keep up with the content and the other apps that their children are being involved in with every day.
Absolutely. And if you ask me, there are so many apps. What the app does also, even I don't know that. Even I am an educator, still I cannot keep a track on it. So I don't know how parents are going to do about it. Okay. But my role as a parent is to empower my child to make better decisions, is what I come from. I cannot stop my child going out and doing things. However, I can control. What I can do is I can influence my child in telling my child what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only give them the tools.
We can give them the tools.
As a parent, you can only give the tools to your children to use correctly, but ultimately it's up to them.
It is entirely up to them, because I can control that at 16. What about 18? What about 20 when they go outside? Right?
You have to hope that they're prepared by that point.
And that hope is us. If I give my child a phone at 8 years of age, why? Because it is convenient to me, or my child is crying. Most of the parents come to me and say, "No, but my child cries so much, I have to give the phone."
Well,
Now
you're starting bad behaviors at a young age.
You can say bad behavior, but for parents, if you ask me, they are generally struggling between time. You know.
Sure, I understand. It's a big struggle.
Yeah. So I always say them. I said, knife is dangerous, right, Tim? You know that we should not give knife to children. It can happen either way, right? I said, if your child comes and say, "Mama, I need a knife, or else I'm going to hate you forever."
Well, that's going to be an obvious no.
Yeah. So then, when I know a specific, if I know that screen is not good for my child, then why do I have to give it to my child?
Peer pressure from other children.
Yeah. Another example I'll give you. My child comes, 10-year-old come and say, "I know how to drive a car. Can you let me drive a car?" Will you let a 10-year-old drive a car? Even if he knows it? I hope the parents don't, right? I hope the parent says, I'm sorry, darling, you are too young for it right now. And maybe there is a whole drama in the house for 1 day, 2 day, right? But as a parent, am I ready to take that drama? Because it's for my child's betterment,
Yes.
right? So that's why I always say there is not always have to. As a parent, I have to find a balance.
Yeah.
I have to find a balance. Today, you go to any school, they are introducing iPads because the education system has become such with IB and IGCSE and international curriculum coming in that they include iPads. Now, my biggest question to the institute generally is that if you are introducing screen to children at such young age, what is my child going to do? You know what one of the institute told me, which I really loved.
No, tell me.
That institute said, you know what, Divya, technology is here to stay. You and me cannot live without technology, right? We
True.
as school, it is our responsibility to enable the children to know the difference between right and wrong, to know what I should do, what I should not do on technology.
Yes.
And I think that was the school for me, honestly. Screens are going to be there. What am I going to do about it?
Right. So all of you put a lot on the table. There's a lot of things to be concerned about. What are some alternatives parents can offer their kids to help reduce their screen time, maybe maybe not all at once, but sort of gradually?
Okay, so I'm going to start again in the two categories, because the kids below the age of 6 7, you can deal with them differently. Above the age of 8 to pre-teens, teens, you can deal with them differently. Okay, if your child is below the age of 6, let's say 7, below the age of 7, routines is what works for them, because that time you still have little bit control over what their day is going to look like. We don't have the similar control in the teen's life, right? A teen is going to say, listen, this is my life, get lost.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But before 7, I still have some control. I can still manage their day. I can still make decisions for them.
Yes.
So if your child is below the age of 7, I always say start as soon as possible. As soon as the child is 2 3 years of age, start with routines. Start with having house rules. Then I set a house rule at the age of 3. That house rule stays till the age my child is out of the house, because those are house rules, right? Simple thing. Like in my house, there are no phones on the table.
Good rule.
Why? Because listen to this. Why? Because I told my child is 5 years old. I told my child, darling, you cannot bring toys on the table. My child turned around and said, fine, then you cannot bring your phone to the table. Fine.
Fair trade.
I have fair trade, and I have to respect that. And my child calls me out on the days I have phone on the table, because either I'm swigging or I'm messaging or I am replying to an email, and he calls me out instantly. Mama, this is not the rule.
Device addiction can affect adults just as much as children.
Yeah. And as we have come to this point, one of the things that children look is, how do me as a parent have my relationship with my child? Correct?
Yes.
What kind is mama is always on the phone? Okay.
Right.
Now I'll tell you, I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I'll come back. But I just want to tell you something. Right now I'm talking to like this. Remember, Tim? Right? I'm talking. I can connect to you. After 2 minutes, I'm talking to you like this. Yeah, Tim, I know. I will reply to you, Tim. Yeah, Tim. What did you feel the moment I do that?
Oh, you're ignoring me, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe did I upset you or something wrong that I'm worried now.
Yeah. So imagine a child who has come to either just say something generally to you, and you are on your phone. You're on your phone because you think this email is the most important thing to reply, and if I do not reply to this email, my job is going to go. And
Right.
your child is thinking that my mother is not looking at me. Maybe there's something wrong in me. As you said, there were so many I statements there. Did you realize it? I.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Right.
And when this happens, a child's self-esteem just goes down.
Absolutely.
They start forming opinions about themselves. They
Yeah.
start saying maybe I am not worthy. You know, this biggest thing of, they say, you know, people are going through depression, that I am not worthy. Where does it come from? From childhood, from
Right.
incidences like this, you know.
Yeah, from being
So I
ignored.
always ignore, because, and I always tell parents, an email can wait, a message can wait, you know. Nobody is going to die if you do not reply after 5 minutes. But if your child has come to you and specially tapped on your shoulder and said, Mama, listen to me, I said, put this phone down for a minute. Because
Immediately, your child should be your first priority.
absolutely. But we forget it a lot of time. Even I forget it. I am not going to say I always do it 100%. No. But I have done it so many times that my child actually reminds me. You will not believe me. He sometimes, once he has said this to me, what is more important to you, Mama, me or your work?
I,
Honestly.
I, I think in that instance that parents and children need to work out that the child is not that the child can act as a reminder to the parents
Absolutely.
and not as a punishment. That mommy, daddy, pay attention to me is not the same as the parent should see that, should perceive that as a gentle reminder. Oh, right, my child needs my attention right now. I'm going to put down my phone and turn my attention to my kid and say, what, are you hungry? Are you cold? Are you hot? Do you need something? How can I help you? And it does not need to be confrontational when a parent needs to decide between a phone in their hand or their child. And but I think it can be seen like that unless parents and kids work that agreement out. Like, mommy, if I come up to you, it's not to annoy you. It's only to get your attention because I need something. I need your help because you're the parent and I'm the child.
Absolutely. You said it so beautifully. But what happens? Let me tell you that also, you know, especially when you're stressed, you're working, your child comes and taps on you. That work irritation goes where? On the
Kid.
child, the
Yeah.
kid. It has happened with me also sometimes. It takes so much of a reminder that I have to tell them this is not important, this is important, you know. So I always tell parents, you divide your time. We have to work also. I understand. As a parent, I also have to work. Divide your time. Your child doesn't need you 24/7. They just need small pockets in the day. That's it. You keep your phone, give 5 minutes to your child, his love bucket is full, and your child is not going to have the tantrum that it was going to happen after some time. Because when a child feels completely depleted, nobody loves me, the tantrum starts happening. Okay.
Right.
So I'll come back to the topic. But meanwhile, guys, if you have any question regarding screen time, whatever questions you have, you can put it on the chat and we will get back to you. Okay. Let's just finish this conversation and then I'm going to answer all the questions that you have. Okay. Anything related to screen time, addictions, just keep putting it on the comments. Okay. So I'll come back to you. How do we regulate screen time for younger kids? Okay. Now for younger kids, as I said, routine. You need to have routine. The sooner you have it, the better it is. I say, if a child already have an addiction, suppose there is a child who cannot live without TV. You know, you have been showing the child TV every day of the week. Suddenly you go to a child, a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, and say, listen, you're not going to get any more TV time. What do you think is going to be the reaction, Tim? If I just suddenly go and say, no more TV time.
A fight.
Yeah, there's going to be a tantrum, a fight, you know. Now, let me tell you an easier way of doing it. Okay. Easier way of doing it is, I go to my child, you know, and I always use I statements. And I say, listen, darling, I am little worried that so much of TV time is going to affect your eyes. And we are not going out and playing, you know. So let's come up with a rule. Okay. What do you suggest? Once your child is 4 and 5 years of age, I always tell parents, have collaboration with your child. They will respond to you more. A child might say, no, I need TV every day. I need TV every day. Please understand, a child is addicted. You ask an alcoholic to leave alcohol in a day. Do you think it is possible?
That's not going to happen.
So same way, screen addiction. One day they cannot leave screen in a day. What do you do then? You know what you do? You start talking them. Acha, can we do it? They will say, no, I need it every day. Then you pitch in and say, okay, how about 30 minutes a day? Because I have to get my child from addiction to once a week. You understand? From kids below the age of 7. I cannot do it in one day. It's a step by step process. So I say, okay, let's do 30 minutes a day. Let's discuss a time. Okay. I can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing is, once I get them into 30 minutes a day, let it happen for 3-4 months. 2 to 3 months, so that a child is used to, then you could go and cut it down further to once a week with the same thing. What do you think? Can we just have one day of TV time and you can watch like 1 hour instead of 30 minutes?
Yeah.
When
Children,
yeah,
children
go ahead.
are more likely to respond to if they feel like they have participation in the new rule being established.
Absolutely. Even as us adults, when we are forced to do something, I resist. My brain shuts.
Right.
And even if I want to do it, I will not do it. Okay.
Right. If my boss tells me to do something, I get defensive. But if my
Yeah.
boss says, "Hey, this is the objective. How can we work together to get a solution to that?" Then I feel if I have participation, that my input is being accepted. I'm a valued member of this conversation. This is a two-way street. It's not. I'm not being told what to do. I'm asked. I'm being collaborative in the solution.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the same thing works with children. The problem with us parents is that we think little kids cannot decide. We think little kids will never understand things. That is not true. The more power you give it to them in small things, and you will not believe, they are very cooperative with you. Very. They'll cooperate with you very easily. Okay. So this is for kids below the age of 7. Start setting routine. If your child is not eating food, I'll just say one last topic, because I know a lot of parents will have issues with eating, child not eating without screen. अगर I'll just say it in Hindi, one thing, अगर आपका बच्चा उनमें से है जो खाना नहीं खाता है ना टीवी स्क्रीन के बिना, put yes in the comment box so that I know that you are one of them, and I'm going to give you a solution for it. Okay. So if your child do not eat without screen, here is what you do. Okay. Again, it's an addiction. First of all, as parents, we need to understand it's an addiction. What do I do? First step. Right now, my child is having morning, afternoon, evening, 3 times. My child is having phone. Okay. Suddenly I say, no more phone, beta, no more phone. You will eat like this only. What will happen? Child will throw a tantrum. I will get angry. It will get into a power struggle. Correct him. Again, I'll go step by step. I always tell parents, especially mothers, I said, tell me when you have the most, like ample time. Is it during breakfast time, lunch, or dinner? When do you have a lot of time? Generally, mothers says it's either lunchtime if they are not started going to school, or it's dinner time. I say, okay. I said, then choose that one time. And then what do you do? I said, then first you have a conversation with your child if your child is above the age of 3. If your child is not above the age of 3, then instead of phone, get some other distraction. For example, read them a book, get a book, get a toy. Because below the age of 3, I cannot have a conversation with a child and my child is not going to understand. Right now, my child is used to distraction eating. So I need to replace the phone distraction with some other distraction. That is step 1. Okay. Then from some other distraction to just talking on the table. That is step 2. What most parents try to do is they go from phone addiction to nothing. That is not going to happen. It's an addiction. They are used to it. Their brains are wired already. That till the time I don't see anything, I can't eat food. So go step by step. First step, remove the mobile, replace it with something else, like a toy, like a book, like an activity. Let them do it. It's okay if it's below the age of 2. If it's above the age of 2, have a conversation with your child that now from dinner on, mama is going to read you a book and you get to decide which book it is. So I'm giving the child the power which they really crave.
Right.
Okay, you decide if you want 2 books or 3 books. Mama is going to read you all the books. Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, they're great. So they are like, oh my God, I'm getting power. So slowly, we first cut it down at dinner. Then we cut it down at lunch. Then we cut it down at breakfast. I always say, parenting is not a 2-minute Maggie noodle. I don't know if you know, Maggie noodle is very famous in India. I think, I don't know, like how you have ram. Okay, let it be. Okay. So Maggie noodle is something which you can make in like literally under 2 minutes. Okay. So I always say, parenting is not a Maggie noodle. It is not going to happen in one day. You will not find a solution in one day. It takes a lot of time and effort, and it is going to take time because children are going to take time to evolve. My main motive is to raise a resilient child. My main motive is that when my child goes to the world, he makes better decisions. Okay. Now I'll come to the second part of it, which is the teens. So teens, now you understand, first of all, as a parent, I have to decide at what age am I giving the phone to my child. And that's, I think, is a personal choice. I am no one to come here and say, give it at 15, give it at 16, give it at 30. Okay. Now, if you know that, I think 4-5 days before only, Australia has banned social media for kids.
I think that was a good move.
And I think a lot of countries need to start doing that very soon.
Because that would be good if the United States did it.
Yeah, but the kids are going to find another way of to get into it, right? Kids are always going to find another way, right? Now,
yeah, kids are
my
sneaky.
point to you, we were also sneaky. Do you remember how sneaky you were when you were a kid?
I was very sneaky.
Especially,
I was very sneaky.
Yeah. So, you know where sneakiness comes from. I always tell this to parents. When I give a punishment to a child, or when I say no to a child, there are two things the child always goes back with. One, either it is resentment. They don't understand me. They don't do this. They don't do this. They really hate you. Second, if they are like those smart kids, they're like, how can I do it the next time that I don't get caught?
Right.
Right? A lot of us do that. Even till date, if I trust me, when I go shopping and I know I've shopped more than I should have, I come and I hide some of the bags inside the cupboard so that my husband doesn't see it. Not that he's going to say anything. It's just the fear that, oh God, he's again going to start saying that, Divya, how much you have shopped. Correct? It's a human nature. Nobody likes to be told all the time, right?
Yeah.
So with teens, I will always say, as a parent, please make a very informed decision. When do you plan to give your child the phone? Then a lot of people keeps telling me that, ma'am, but it is so much required to give the phone for tracking because children are going out. You can give your phone to a child without internet. Why not? Phone is not the problem. As I said, this device is not a problem. The problem is the internet on the device. The moment I give internet access to an 8-year-old, to a 10-year-old, I have zero control to whom my child is talking to, right or wrong.
That's true.
Because I have zero control. I don't know, tomorrow Tim might be chatting with my son. I don't know.
Right.
And I don't know what Tim is teaching my son. I have like zero control. Right? So a child is going to say, Mama, he has the phone, she has the phone, all my friends have the phone. You decide, is it your child, or are you going to get into peer pressure and give the phone to your child? Okay.
Well, that brings up that parents should be communicating with each other and helping reinforce, okay, our kids are both asking for a phone. They're 9 years old. Let's tell them to wait till they're 11. And if you tell your kid the same thing, and I tell my kid the same thing, then they can't point fingers and say, oh, well, she has a phone, he has a phone. But if parents band together and make sort of a social compact, then, that might help, show the children that, no, you can wait because your friends are waiting.
Yeah, but Tim, the point is here, how many people are you going to make aware about this? That's why I loved when you reached out to me and said, this is a social cause that you guys are so passionate about, that you want to have that ripple effect and give as much awareness to people as possible, because you understand the problem technology is causing to our children, right?
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, you guys are also offering like free workshops to schools who want to raise more awareness.
Yes. Yeah. If any school administrators or teachers or parents or even students are watching us right now, and they contact Infrarita, we will be happy to send out a team and conduct a free workshop for anybody interested in attending.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's something that we should offer. So
Yeah.
contact the website.
Yeah. Because as you said, the other parent should also do it. Like the other parent should also be like, we are not going to give phone till 16. I can decide not to give phone at 16, but I cannot force my neighbor to do the same, right? It is a conscious awareness in parenting that we have to bring. It is like that ripple effect that, listen, this is not good, understand it. You know?
Right, but parents should at least try to ask other parents
Yeah.
for cooperation and not just
Yeah.
assume that it's, you know, two parents and one kid, two parents and two kids in the household, and no other external factors make a difference.
Yeah.
External factors do make a difference.
Yeah. Just 1 minute, Tim. I think there's a little issue with my internet. Fine. Sure. So yes. Sorry. Where were you? Sorry.
I was saying that parents should try to get cooperation from other parents.
Yeah.
In keeping phones from the kids until a set age.
Yeah. I think yes. And coming on to that, I have seen parents like they have given iPads because school needs iPad. Okay. They have given phones to the kids because we need to communicate. But I always ask a parent, once you hand over a device, what rules did you set? Did you just hand over the device thinking that your 8-year-old or a 10-year-old is intelligent enough to use this device?
Well, that sounds like a mistake.
Yeah. So now tell me, if my child says, Mama, I need a car, and I give it thinking my child knows how to learn, my child knows how to operate a car. That is my assumption, right?
Yes.
Right? I am not giving my child the skills to drive a car.
Right.
Right? So in the same way, when I'm giving phone to my child, I have to, especially with preteens and teens, when you have already given the phone to your child, you know, please start setting boundaries. Again, how do you set boundaries, especially with teens? Same, how we set with toddlers. But with preteens, we have to stop this nagging. Because if you have not set the house rule in the beginning, if your house rule is that you cannot take phone to your room in the night, and that was so clear on day one, your child will not take the phone to the room in the night. And if he does, there is going to be a consequence. But if this rule was never set with the teen, you know, then the child can do whatever they want, and then you are going to go and nag your child about it. And you as a parent will not like it, and you're breaking that connection with your child. Because
right.
it's always going to be constant battle.
The kid is going to say, well, this was okay yesterday. Why is it not okay today?
Okay. Tim, your voice is fluctuating. Like it was breaking in between. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying that if a parent suddenly changes any rule in the house, a child is going to say, well, this was okay yesterday. Why is it not okay today? That's not fair.
Exactly. That's not fair. And that's where the struggle comes. That's where the problem comes. If video games were fine yesterday, you know, then why are video games not allowed today, Mama? And
right.
And most of the time, the parents say, because I said so. Do you think a teen is going to like that answer? Did you like it when your parents told that to you when you were a teen?
No, I hated the answer because I'm the parent. That drove me mad.
Yeah.
People don't. Nobody likes arbitrariness.
No.
People want explanations. They want reasons. They want to know what led to this decision, and then they can make sense of it. Yeah. But when something is black and then it turns to white, that's confusing.
Absolutely. So when I know my teen is going to go on social media, correct? I know, because it's a teen, he's going to go, and I am handing over the phone to my teenage, right? If I have not had conversations with my child about the danger of being there, my child will not know. Do you know there are apps where strangers actually talk to the child and can make them do things and then record it and then blackmail them?
Yeah, that's a big issue. I've seen that in the news.
Yeah,
That's pretty
and it is
terrifying.
a reality. It is a reality. And kids go and commit suicide because they feel so ashamed. They feel their parents are never going to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, a
You
lot of
know?
internet blackmail out there.
Exactly. So I always tell parents, if you have a teen, sit down weekly, sit down once in a month at least, and have conversations about technology. Tell them how you have also made mistakes in your life. It's okay. We have all made mistakes. When we were teens, we have done too many things, you know. But also tell them that, darling, if there is ever a problem, you can come to me.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
good.
if somebody, yeah, because if someone is cyberbullying them, if someone is writing nasty comments on the Instagram, they know my parents are standing with me. May my parents know my truth.
Yes, children need to know that even if they make a mistake, that their parent is going to that the parent's first reaction is going to be, "I love you. I'm sorry this happened. How do we solve it?" Not the worst reaction is for the parents to get angry. How could you be so stupid? How could you make this mistake? I told you better.
Yeah,
The child needs to know that the parent is a safe refuge for them to admit mistakes so that the problem doesn't get worse.
exactly. Exactly. And another thing is, we always assume, as you said, no, I teach you better. Did we actually teach our kids better? We
Or did you just assume?
did you exactly? That's the biggest mistake parents do. They assume their child knows. They assume their child will tackle a particular situation. They assume their child knows how much they love them. No, nobody assumes till the time you do not say it verbally.
Right.
You know. So if I don't verbally once or twice tell my child very clear words, darling, anything happens on social media, you can come and tell me. I am standing by you. I know you're right. You have to say it in words
Yes.
to your
It
child,
has to be
you know.
totally clear for the child to know that, oh, I'm in over my head. I did
Yeah,
something wrong.
yeah,
You know, I can tell my parents, I can tell my mom, I can tell my
yeah,
dad, because they can help me get out of it because I know that I can't get out of it myself.
exactly. And that is what teens actually need. Why do teens are getting into depression? Why do they have social anxiety? Because one, there's so much of comparison, you know. There is so much of comparison. Here again, the parents have to come and play a role. You know how? One, model it. When you are also on social media, we as adults also feel, oh, my friend went to Switzerland. When am I going to go to Switzerland? You saw she went there. And we talk all this in front of who? In our kids.
Right.
In front of our kids, right? They are modeling everything.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, mom, dad also get jealous. Yeah, even it's okay for me to get jealous if my friends are having a party and I am not.
Right.
You know. So I always say, focus on building your child, their confidence, their resilience. You cannot change the world. You can only
Mm-hmm.
teach them. And how do you teach them? Is first teaching yourself, having these conversations. Beta, it's okay if they went, we did this. You know, I know it feels bad, I know you want to go, and maybe one day we will, you know. But these are the conversations that we need to keep coming up with. Not always that they come to us and the team comes to us and say, mama, this happened on social media, or that person wrote to me this, and they have written such a bad body shaming comment, and I'm like, leave it, they don't know better. Because it
Right.
affects, as I said, once you have heard or seen something, it is so difficult to take it out of your memory.
Yeah. It definitely can
It
be.
is so
Negative things,
difficult.
certainly.
It is, especially negative things, because negative we register more.
Right.
We register more. So, like, even if I am on social media, let me tell you, my social media phone is separate. Okay. I only download Instagram on my main phone on a Thursday. That's all. Why? Because it's an addiction. It is an addiction. It is taking out my time. And it is so important to have these conversations with your children,
And with yourself and with your spouse.
with yourself, with your spouse. Because if you are always on the phone, the child is going to say, you are always on the phone. What is your problem if I am on the phone?
Yeah. Why do you hold
Correct?
why do you hold me to a higher standard than yourself?
Of course. And us parents do that a lot of time. I can eat junk food, but my child can't eat junk food. I can have French fries, my child cannot have French fries. Why?
Children don't like that.
Will you like it? If your spouse says, listen, I can have French fries, you can't have French fries even if you like it. I can have a cake, you
I
can't
wouldn't
have a
like
cake.
that at all. No, no way. No
Simple.
way.
Simple. So we are just trying to create an ideal being, not knowing that that ideal being only needs love from you, only need acceptance from you, only need that you hear them first,
Mhm.
and then tell what your feelings are all about.
Right.
You know?
So I think that we could have a challenge for everybody watching, and that's to, because this is Children's Day. Um, let's make a screen-free commitment. Divya, what's one small change every family can start making today to disconnect from the screen?
Is have at least half an hour of family time.
Yeah, that's
Half
pretty
an
good.
hour of family time without screens. For us parents also. My office can wait, my work can wait, my friends can wait. But if you have a dedicated half an hour of time, like in our house, it's family dinner time. That is half an hour, nobody's on phone. We are talking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we are talking. There's nobody's going to answer anything unless it's like a very urgent call that my husband generally gets. I don't answer anything at that time. There are times when I've picked up the phone and said, listen, I'm with my child, I'll talk to you later. And I've kept the phone. Do you know uh, the kind of power it gives to the child, the happiness that my mother put me above somebody else?
That's got to be a great feeling that my
Yeah.
mom
So,
put down an important work phone call
yeah.
and turns
And that's
her
okay.
attention back to me.
Yeah. And I think that is absolutely okay. If tomorrow you call me up, Tim, and I say, listen, Tim, can I call you back in half an hour? I'm just having dinner with my son and I will call you back. Would you mind it?
No, not at all.
Unless it's like a super emergency or someone is dying. You will say, yeah, Divya, no problem. Correct?
No problem, Divya.
Yeah, but we have put ourselves so much on high standards that we are the most important person in the world. That world cannot wait for half an hour. That we cannot say so. That we cannot tell 30 minutes. I'll call you back. Right?
Main character
So one thing, if
syndrome.
someone has to do, yeah, main character syndrome. Oh yeah, absolutely. So the one thing, if anyone has to do, is they should spend 30 minutes in a day, screen free, with their children. Now here I
Or
know a lot of
at
mothers
least
will say,
30 minutes.
at least all they need is 30 minutes. Trust me. And when they start becoming teenagers, they don't even need that 30 minutes every day. They'll be like, please leave me alone, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
these are they don't want. So that's why have this 30 minutes during meal time, something where you come together. I know houses where everybody is eating separately, and then they
Right.
say, my child doesn't listen to me. How is your child going to listen to you when you're not listening to your child? You're not connecting with your child. You're only telling your child what to do. Eat food, do this, do this, do this. That's not connection. That's not talking.
Right.
Right? Now, I'm going to answer one question, Tim, if I can. There's a question in my question bank here. It says, if a child is stubborn, how to make a house rule or implement those rules? Okay. Can I answer it if you have like 5 minutes?
Yeah, yes, please. I
Yeah.
think it's great that we take questions from the audience.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, please put it here. We'll try to answer it. Okay. We still have 10 minutes more. Okay. So the biggest thing that a lot of parents come to me and say, I tried, but my child doesn't do it. I tried, but my child is very stubborn. Okay. This is something that comes very often from parents, especially from toddler parents. Okay. Or for preteen parents. Okay. Again, I'll say what I said before. Ishita. Okay. This question is from Ishita. Sorry. Arishia. Arishia 123. Okay. Your child is going to have a tantrum. Why? Because your child is addicted. Okay. So don't think that the addiction is going to go in one day. Don't assume that one day you're going to come and say, listen, no more TV, no more screen. That's it. Then the tantrum is going to be there. So if your child is a strong-willed child, there are different type of children, but strong-willed children are a little difficult to manage. Why? Because they are come with very strong personalities. Okay. if you have a child who is a strong-willed child, the number one thing you can do is you give them the power. Now, when I say give them the power, that is, we are making the house rules, darling. As I said, collaborate with them. This is not good for you. I'm sure, sorry, I cannot give it to you. However, you choose to decide which 30 minutes you want to watch. So I'm giving them the power to choose when is that 30-minute time slot. Okay. Second power I can give them is, okay, you choose, you can go and put the timer. So they like doing that. If your child is a preteen, okay, and you think this is not working, I've tried everything, what you need to do is you just need to have a preteen understands everything. It is just that they want to assert their power to irritate you more. And why are they asserting their power? Let me tell you that also, because they are missing the connection. Biggest tantrum happen when they are not feeling loved by the parents, when they feel their parents are not understanding them. Why will I not listen to someone who I know loves me deeply? Right? At least I listen. Agreeing is disagreeing is a separate thing, So if you're having this kind of a problem with a preteen, I always tell parents, look, do you have that connection with your child, or your child is actually throwing a tantrum to get the attention from you?
Right.
Because they are not getting that attention any other way. So they are going to have a tantrum with you.
Right.
Right? Okay. So is there anybody else who has a question? Can I just go up and answer? Or anything else, Tim, you want to ask me, check with me? I would love to answer.
I think this was a great conversation. Thank you for taking the time to speak with Infarita.
No, thank you so much for calling me. I'm just checking. Generally, my live questions are like always going da 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 da, but today, surprisingly, nobody has asked a question. So I think everybody understood me too well. I'll take it like that.
You obviously are great at giving advice, because you definitely know what you're talking about. You said some really smart things today.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, there's someone who has written, my child also says she's bored. She brings her toys on the table and plays with them and eats food. Is that fine? Samara, very honestly, it is fine. But what I would love you to do is, I would love you to have conversations with your child. A child is getting bored. Even when we are eating alone by ourselves, do we like eating alone by ourselves? Never.
No.
Never ever.
No,
right?
I hate
We
it.
also humans need company. Human needs to talk. And I see a lot of us, because we don't have time, we put the child on the table and we say, beta khana khao, start eating. They're not going to like it, So instead of her bringing the toys, slowly start having conversation with your child. Your child basically just needs some kind of simulation.
Right.
Right? Now, imagine if you're having a conversation with your child, how much you're going to get to know about your child. The amount of connection. I tell you, your child will not need you the entire day, because their love basket is full. So, darling, slowly do one thing. If your child is bringing a toy, it's okay. Next time, sit with your child, slowly take and put the toy away and start talking about the day. Start telling how was your day. Don't always put the child in a position, tell me how was your day. We are not interrogating here, right? We are not. We are trying to have a conversation. Start with your day first. This happened. My day was not good. Like, I tell my child a lot of times that my day was not good. What happened, mama? He will ask me. Then I tell him the version that he can understand. That is not too heavy on him, And sometimes he comes up with great advice. Trust me. And they love that.
Yeah, ask your kids for advice.
Oh, sometimes they give you amazing advice. So have a conversation, dear. If your child is bringing toys on the table, let them. It's much better than phone. But try to have more conversation on the table. Because I said one thing to my husband. I don't know if you're aware about this, but a lot of mothers especially come to me in India and say, I want to do it, but my husband comes home very late. I want to do this, but my husband is watching TV when we are having dinner. So if my husband is watching TV and having dinner, then my child also wants to watch TV and have dinner. Correct?
Yeah.
I always say, go have a conversation with your partner. And let me tell you how I got my husband turn around on this. My husband used to be the same. One day I went to my husband and I said, darling, today our child is 5. He's only 5 years old, and he's all around you, papa, 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 or looking for your time. Okay. I said, tomorrow he's going to be a teen, and you are going to look for his time, and he's not going to give you any time. I said, start a rule in the house from today that we all sit on the table and eat together the dinner, and there is no phones on the table. I said, so that 10 years down the line, it's the same rule. And 10 years down the line, when my child is a teen, he knows it's a house rule. He has to come on the table to eat. And that's the time, at least I have 10 minutes of time with my teenager to talk to him.
Very
Right?
good.
So let's think long term when it comes to parenting, not short term as to what is happening.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Tim? Any other questions we have?
No, that's it from my end.
Oh, okay. So I don't think any more questions are coming here on screen time. Okay. I've asked twice. Nobody has given a question here. Do you guys want me to talk to you in Hindi, or I can reply to you back in Hindi also if you want that to happen. Otherwise, I think if I was clear, then thank you very much. You can always always reach out to Tim or to their company, because they are more than happy to do free workshops specifically to raise awareness about screen time addiction. Because I think it's a
And
cause.
how any of our products work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you will be in a better position to tell parents as to what apps to use, where the control can be, because you're more on a tech side. Like, I am not on a tech side. I actually have to, when I have to give the phone to my child, I actually have to go and Google what are the parental controls, what do I need to do, where is the education? There is no education.
Right. I hope the audience didn't have a problem understanding me.
Okay. There's one question. I don't know. Mahindra is saying, sorry, Mahindra, we have not. If you can just put the question again here, that will be the last question we take, and then we are going to close the live.
I'm sorry, say that again.
No, there's this one person who wrote, Mahindra, saying that I have a question. If you could speak anything on that.
I didn't catch that.
No, there was a question from Mahindra saying that I have a question, but the question was not mentioned here. So
Okay.
I said we will try to come out with the answer. I think I'm sorry, I'm just 1 second. Sorry. So I was saying, so Infureda is going to come out with a podcast as well, replying to all the messages that have been here. So you guys can go and check that out as well. Okay. So if my question, Sabah Khan, I didn't hear your question, darling. If you can put it again, I can answer your question, but your question has to be relevant to screen time addiction. I will only answer that today. For other questions, come on my live next Thursday and we'll do a Q&A. Okay. So Sabah, if you can quickly put your question here, I'll answer it. Otherwise, we'll just close the live.
Just one last thing from Infureda is that we can offer free workshops all over India. Anywhere in India, we will come to you.
Okay. That's a really good thing. I think, Mahindra, are you okay? How can I make my parents like this? As a grown-up, I understand and doing everything I can, but I cannot make rules for my parents. So what is possible? What possible I can do? So Mahindra, what I understand is that it's the turning the tables. Okay. So you want your parents to use less of the phone, if I am not mistaken. Then I think the best way is to have a very open conversation with your child. Purva is asking, how can we connect to you for the workshop? You can just go to them, to their website, right, Infureda? Like Tim, how someone has asked, how can we connect to you for the workshop?
DM on Instagram.
Okay, you can follow them on Instagram and DM to them, and they are currently in Bangalore only. So because I know Purva is from Bangalore, so they are currently in Bangalore only, and they'll be happy to conduct a workshop.
Yes.
Yeah,
But we can travel, like I said, we can travel anywhere throughout India
yeah,
and bring the
yeah, yeah,
workshop to your school.
yeah. No, I know you guys are very passionate about this topic, and I was happy to collaborate on it. So it was lovely talking to you, Tim, and I
Yeah,
hope,
thank you for bringing awareness.
yeah, and I hope this live was helpful to the audience as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Bye, Divya.
Bye. Thank you. You can just cut on the cross mark. Can you just, Tim, can you just press the cross mark? Yeah. So guys, that was Infureda for you. Okay. Now I know कि today का live was not what we generally do, but मुझे ना ये topic बहुत important लगता है, which is regarding screen time addiction. Okay, that's why I wanted to do it with you. Okay, इसको मैं save करके it will come on my feed as well. If you have missed it, please see it. Okay, and please remember, it is us as parents who has a responsibility to save our children. So let's do that. So next live is going to be next Thursday, 11:30. I'll tell you whether it's 11 or 11:30. And then the next time we are going to do sibling rivalry. Remember, I promised you for this Thursday, but I'm sorry I couldn't do it because this came in. So next Thursday we'll do sibling rivalry, and I will take one of you online also to answer your questions. Okay. So till then, bye, and I'll see you next Thursday.